Hello and welcome to today's episode of the Jacksonville Jaguars Insider Podcast. My name is John Shipley. I am your host and beat reporter. And today we are going to talk about three things that I believe directly led to the Jaguars deciding how they're going to use Travis Hunter for 2026. And I should note that how they've decided to use them is probably even the wrong phrase to say. I mean, he isn't even back on the field yet after his injury. People have gone absolutely ballistic over a report about, them expecting him to play him more corner than receiver, which, again, I must add, James Gladstone, their literal general manager, said a month ago. And everybody seemed to miss it, I guess. James Gladstone essentially said, look at our depth chart. Why wouldn't he play that? And I don't know if it's because so many people think that I think one part of the disconnect is I saw a lot of people say, well, playing full-time both ways was never going to pan out. This is no different than what they did a year ago. It's just reversing offense and defense. I don't remember the Jaguars ever saying he's going to play 100% of the snaps both ways. I would love for somebody to pull that up, that he'd be, 96, 97% of the snaps on both sides of the ball. Well, that's never been said. So they need to define what full-time means and whether the Jaguars ever even said that would happen, which they didn't. But he did this last year. He played twice as many snaps at receiver than he did at corner last year. So why is this any different? People are acting like something actually happened, and it didn't. Nothing happened. No event took place. But for some reason, people have ran to the hills shrieking about the Travis Hunter trade. And now how this is officially him playing cornerback full-time has decided the value of it. It is baffling to me. In my younger days, I would have engaged in it. I'm proud of myself for not doing so once in terms of online discussions about it. I know past life, probably my last 48 hours, that's what I would have consumed. But I moved on from that. But I will say it's stunning the lack of just literacy and sense that comes when it comes to looking at the Travis Hunter situation. And I'm saying this as somebody who thinks it's pretty obvious they're never going to win this trade. Travis Hunter is an awesome talent, very rare player. I think he can be special, and I think he can help the Jaguars massively. But the odds of them ever coming out on the right side of that trade are incredibly low. And it's hard to imagine they're not going to get lower as the years go on. So I'm not even defending the trade. I'm just wondering why everybody's losing their mind. And it's not like the Jaguars, when they drafted Hunter, said, okay, this is the plan. I mean, they said they had a plan for him, and they did. They had a plan for that version of the roster, but the team has changed since then. We live in a different world now than we did when the Jaguars drafted Hunter. The Jaguars are not the same franchise, specifically at those two positions. Maybe two positions they haven't changed more at. I mean, go back to last season. Three things I think that have determined this Travis Hunter move. One, the Jacoby Myers trade. Travis Hunter gets hurt shortly before they play the Las Vegas Raiders in Week 9. They beat the Raiders by 1 and then trade for Jacoby Myers a few days later at the trade deadline. Did Travis Hunter getting hurt push the sense of urgency to add a guy? Potentially. I could see that. But we know for a fact the Jaguars talked to the Las Vegas Raiders about Jacoby Myers during training camp last year. They had talked to the Raiders about Jacoby Myers much, much earlier than at any point that Travis Hunter went down with an injury. Jacoby Myers was already firmly on the Jaguars' radar. So I believe that was a guy they wanted to add regardless. But I don't think anybody, and I know most of the dissenters, I wouldn't say most, but I'd say plenty of them, are fantasy football people who selected him high in dynasty drafts, and they're now pissed that it looks like that it has aged like milk. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry. I don't know what to give you. But can anybody, especially those, argue that the Jaguars shouldn't have traded for Jacoby Myers just because it affects the Travis Hunter trade? The Jaguars needed Jacoby Myers. Jaguars don't go on that 8-game winning streak to end the year and fly into the playoffs without him. He only lost 2 games with them. The first one he played and against the Buffalo Bills. Jacoby Myers was a critical piece of the Jaguars turning their season around and of the passing game just absolutely taking off. When the Jaguars drafted Travis Hunter, they didn't have a Jacoby Myers. When the Jaguars drafted Travis Hunter, he was their number 2, I firmly believe, number 2 cornerback walking into the building. Number 2 receiver, excuse me. I'm sorry. De'Ami Brown, you're not putting him over Travis Hunter on the depth chart. Parker Washington hadn't yet ascended. Jacoby Myers wasn't on the roster. Where you look at corner, they had Tyson Campbell. They had Jordan Lewis. They had Monteric Brown. They had Jarian Jones. They were much deeper at corner than receiver when they drafted Travis Hunter. Now the Jaguars are much deeper at receiver than they are at corner. Well, why should they be judged and punished for shifting how they're using one of their top talents to better fit their roster? I struggled to wrap my head around it. Then there was the ascension of Parker Washington. The Jaguars cannot, in any scenario, go into the offseason program, training camp, any practice setting, and not have Parker Washington as a starter in the offense this offseason. He did more than earn that. Parker Washington had the best camp of any receiver last year, still started the year as a backup, starts the year as a backup, and ends up finishing the year as the team's leading receiver and one of the most dynamic players. Washington was a critical piece for the Jaguars' run. Several big games, 100-yard games. I mean, his game against Denver was absolutely fantastic. I'd say one of the best receiver performances of the season. So one way or another, Parker Washington doesn't have that ascension without Travis Hunter getting hurt. Travis Hunter gets hurt, okay. The Jaguars now know, they didn't know when they drafted Travis Hunter that Parker Washington was this. There was no way of them knowing. He had flashed before, but he had never done this. Now that they got this from Parker Washington, you can't sideline. Finally, the Tyson Campbell, Greg Newsome trade. Trading Tyson Campbell, who was the number 1 cornerback because he didn't fit the scheme. And then, so you're taking out one corner, the unquestioned top corner, when Travis Hunter got here. Okay, corner room already looks different. You replace him with Greg Newsome, who I thought played okay. Didn't play great. I didn't think played bad by any means. Gave up a few explosive plays that people remember more than the other positive plays. If Greg Newsome had played better, and if Greg Newsome had become a guy that the Jaguars couldn't move forward without re-signing, then maybe the Jaguars aren't as desperate. I wouldn't even say desperate. Maybe the Jaguars don't have as big of a reason to publicly proclaim this is their path forward with Hunter. The fact that Gladstone did that, because they have, him, Newsome, and Monteric Brown, both free agents, played a lot of snaps for the Jags last year, started a lot of games. James Gladstone publicly saying, yeah, Travis Hunter, and this is not quoted word for word, but the same sense, saying that Travis Hunter will play more corner next year because they have some free agents on that side of the ball. And they were going to re-sign either one of them. I don't know if he makes that comment. So Greg Newsome had played differently coming over from Cleveland. Maybe things look differently, but I don't understand where this discourse has gone. I do understand it's gone off the rails. I don't wish to participate in it, but I think if you put your thinking cap on for 5 seconds, you can tell why things have come to this point for the Jaguars.